keep it all the way real on this podcast today because I am pissed. Robin admitting that she hid her story from the world on the show that pays you is a slap in the face to everyone involved, including the audience. And the fact that you have the audacity to go on your podcast to reveal this, we spent this entire half-assed season with these made-up storylines about Chris Bassett. And yes, I'm gonna say made up because I allegedly was told that a few of the housewives had a meeting before filming about what the storyline was going to be, and that this Chris Bassett stuff was part of that conversation. I've always said there was something off about this season, and now I know what it is. None of y'all are living your real lives.
Carlos King had stayed quiet for a long time, too quiet. While the internet argued, picked sides, and replayed old clips frame by frame, Carlos watched it all unfold without saying much. Fans thought his silence meant guilt. Others believed he was waiting for the right moment. And then, without warning, that moment came. Because when Carlos King finally decided to speak, it wasn't just damage control. It wasn't a quick clapback. It was a full-on truth session that forced everyone to look at Latisha Scott and Marsau Scott in a completely different way.
Your wife at, she my favorite on the show. Go find her then. Shit, where Tisha at? Tisha getting pampered. Yesterday's her birthday.
Let me check my goddamn.
Right. Because I know I got a private investigator following her little cheating ass. So I'm gonna find out because she wanna. Tisha ain't the kind of person that be sitting there taking that shit. She wanna just get back. She wanna cheat back. So I gotta watch her.
For years, viewers thought they understood the Scotts. A power couple, strong faith, family-focused, business-minded. But behind the polished smiles and carefully chosen words, cracks had been forming quietly. And according to Carlos, those cracks weren't created by editing, producers, or storylines. They were already there. What nobody expected was how deep this really went. And once the truth started coming out, there was no putting it back in the box.
Some raindrops, come here. What did you say to me?
We love him.
You love me?
You gave us some good reality TV.
I
Yes.
know, because in real life, people love me.
Yes, we do.
Y'all can't believe everything y'all hear about on social media.
Nope.
I'm out here doing my big one. In real life, people love me. So I love you too.
Before the accusations, before the tension, before social media turned into a battleground, Latisha Scott's story looked like a classic rise-from-nothing success. She came into love and marriage Huntsville as a woman chasing stability, respect, and recognition. She wasn't just a wife standing next to her husband. She wanted her own lane, her own voice, her own legacy. Marsau, on the other hand, came in confident, sharp-tongued, and unapologetically himself. He knew how to talk, he knew how to command a room, and he knew how to deflect when things got uncomfortable.
Really single.
Yes.
Have you tried women?
I've never been with a woman before.
They're all right.
Are you for real?
Have you tried this woman? She's all
like a bad job.
Have you tried this woman?
So wait, so you think the missing piece in my life is maybe I should start dating women? Just to see how it is.
I think that if you date women and you see how it is, Carlos, I think you might just like it. I think you might get delivered.
Together, they presented a united front. At least that's what the cameras showed. But reality TV has a way of exposing what people try hardest to hide. Over time, rumors began circling, questions about loyalty, whispers about trust, side comments that felt a little too loaded to be accidental. Fans noticed tension in moments that were supposed to be light, conversations that ended too quickly, arguments that felt unresolved. Still, Latisha held it together. She defended her marriage publicly. She pushed forward with her business dreams. She tried to prove that she could stand strong no matter what the narrative looked like. And when things didn't go her way on screen, frustration slowly turned into resentment. That resentment didn't just build toward cast members. It quietly pointed upward toward Carlos King.
Of your life. If you look at where you want to go
Look at the windshield.
As the seasons progressed, Latisha began feeling like she was being boxed into a role she didn't choose. The nagging wife, the emotional one, the woman always reacting instead of being understood. In her mind, someone was shaping that image, someone was benefiting from it. And once that belief took root, everything became suspicious. But here's the twist. Carlos says none of this started with him. According to Carlos King, Latisha and Marsau's issues existed long before the cameras ever rolled. He insists the show didn't create their problems, it simply revealed them. And when Latisha began pushing the idea that editing was the villain, Carlos saw it as an attempt to rewrite reality instead of facing it. What really set things off was Latisha's shift from subtle frustration to public accusation. Cryptic posts, carefully worded messages, hints about favoritism, suggestions that certain cast members were protected while others were sacrificed for drama. She never said Carlos's name directly at first, but everyone knew exactly who she was pointing at. And that's when Carlos decided enough was enough. When Carlos finally addressed the situation, he didn't yell, he didn't insult, he didn't panic. Instead, he spoke with the calm confidence of someone who knows the full story. He reminded fans that reality TV doesn't work unless people show their real lives, not perfect lives, not curated lives, real ones. He made it clear that no one is forced to say anything on camera. No one is handed a script. If emotions show up, it's because they're already there. Then he dropped the line that changed everything.
Some raindrops, come here. What did you say to me?
We love him.
You love me?
You gave us some good
Everybody loves reality TV until the reality is about them. That wasn't just a quote, it was a mirror. Carlos suggested that Latisha was comfortable when the spotlight was on other people's flaws, other people's mistakes, other people's marriages. But the moment attention turned toward her household, the show suddenly became unfair. And Marsau? Carlos didn't ignore him. In fact, he hinted that Marsau's role in all of this was far bigger than fans wanted to admit. According to Carlos, Marsau knew exactly how to maneuver conversations, how to avoid accountability, and how to let Latisha absorb the emotional weight while he stayed cool and detached. What nobody expected was Carlos implying that Latisha wasn't just angry at production. She was exhausted from carrying a narrative she could no longer control. That's when the conversation shifted. Carlos revealed that behind the scenes, Latisha often struggled with how much of herself she was giving versus how much she felt seen. She wanted validation, not just from viewers, but from her own marriage. And when that validation didn't come, the frustration spilled into every area of her life. Marsau, according to Carlos, wasn't blindsided by this tension. He lived in it. But instead of addressing it directly, he often minimized it, joked it away, redirected attention. And over time, that emotional disconnect became increasingly difficult to conceal on camera. Fans started noticing it too, the way Latisha's voice would crack, the way Marsau would smirk during serious conversations. The imbalance became obvious. Carlos says production didn't exaggerate those moments, they simply didn't erase them, and that's where the real betrayal comes in. Latisha believed loyalty meant protection. She believed being part of the show meant her marriage would be handled gently. But Carlos believes loyalty means honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. What nobody expected was Carlos revealing that Latisha had opportunities to clarify her side on camera multiple times, opportunities to speak freely, to explain her truth, to shift the narrative naturally. However, she chose silence during filming and expressed outrage afterward. That choice changed everything, because once the accusations went public, the trust between the cast and the creator was broken. Carlos felt his integrity was being questioned, his reputation dragged, his intentions are doubted. And for someone who built his career on storytelling, that cut deep. He didn't just defend himself, he exposed the pattern. Carlos pointed out how often reality stars blame editing when they don't like how they appear, but praise authenticity when it works in their favor. He challenged viewers to ask themselves a hard question. If the cameras weren't there, would these problems disappear? Or would they still exist behind closed doors? The truth hit harder than any clapback ever could, and the emotional fallout was undeniable. Latisha didn't just feel misunderstood, she felt exposed. Friends distanced themselves, fans questioned her motives, supporters split into camps. Some saw a woman standing up for herself, others saw someone avoiding accountability. Marsau, meanwhile, remained composed on the surface, but Carlos hinted that silence doesn't equal innocence. Sometimes it's a strategy, sometimes it's avoidance, and sometimes it's letting someone else take the fall. The strain affected their marriage in ways viewers could feel through the screen. Conversations became colder, laughter felt forced, love looked tired. And for a couple who once seemed unbreakable, the emotional weight was heavy. Careers were impacted too. Brand partnerships became cautious. Public perception shifted. Every post, every appearance, every interview was dissected. But here's what really hurt. Latisha's dream was never fame. It was stability, respect, a sense of worth. And watching that dream turn into constant scrutiny took a toll she wasn't prepared for. Carlos acknowledged that pain. He didn't dismiss it, but he refused to carry the blame for it. He made it clear that growth comes from facing truth, not running from it. And in a moment that surprised many, Carlos said he still wants the best for Latisha and Marsau, just not at the expense of honesty. Which brings us to the bigger question: what happens now? Because once truth is spoken, there's no going back to pretending. The audience sees more, the silence feels louder, and the next chapter can't be built on the same foundation. Carlos didn't frame this as the end. He framed it as a turning point, a moment where Latisha has the chance to reclaim her voice without blaming others, where Marsau has the opportunity to show up emotionally instead of intellectually. But whether they take that chance is entirely up to them. Reality TV doesn't destroy relationships, it reveals them. And sometimes the hardest truth isn't what the cameras show, it's what they can't hide anymore. So now the spotlight waits, not for drama, not for sides, but for accountability. Because in this story, the truth wasn't finally revealed to embarrass anyone. It was revealed to set the record straight. And once the truth is out, the only question left is who's ready to face it.